I'm a visual artist and art director. I come from a background in video games. I am the co-creator of NBA Street and Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York. I was also the art and creative director for Farmville 2. I'm also a co-founder of studios, so I've had 2 exits. First was studio was Propaganda Games, which I sold to the Walt Disney Company, and then Midwinter Entertainment, which we sold to Improbable. That was in 2019. I've been taking some time off and gathering my thoughts. Like most of you, I am currently obsessed with AI generative art. I've been posting a lot of my experiments to my Instagram where I just share all of my prompts. And behind the scenes, I've been experimenting with how to apply these techniques to game production. What we're going to do is actually a live jam in Midjourney. And maybe some of what I'm going to show you could have been considered advanced a few weeks ago, but things are moving pretty quickly and it's probably not considered advanced anymore. If you were looking for guidance on how to train your own models or how to use ControlNet or DragGAN, that's not what this is going to be. So I have no idea how this is going to turn out, but I will share some insight and some of the cheat codes that I've learned along the way. We're going to spend some money, we're going to burn some GPU hours, and hopefully we'll have some fun. And with that, let's just get into it. So first question I've got for you guys, actually it's probably the last question. Give me a couple architectural styles. What's your favorite just shout it out. Brutalist, Art Deco, mid-century modern. Building on a stunning landscape. I'm going to throw in one of them as well. I'm going to throw in Spanish Colonial. And then we're just going to get some results here. Failed to process your command. Oh, but it's going. Okay, so one of the things that I just did there is my favorite feature that they've added to Midjourney. It's permutations. It's a pretty new feature, and it allows you to quickly test multiple ideas using comma-separated values between curly braces. So here we have 4 similar prompts, but we're generating different architectural styles. So if I scroll up, we've got the Brutalist that's coming in. We've also got Art Deco buildings that are coming in. We've got the mid-century moderns, and then we've got Spanish Colonial, and that was all done through one prompt. So we've got 16 images that are being baked in right now, and hopefully we'll see what they look like shortly. One of the things that you'll notice here is that I've used the 4:5 aspect ratio. That is the optimal ratio for Instagram. Permutations is a great way to test out different aspect ratios. So what I'm going to do is you guys can vote on which one of these styles we're going to go with. And then I'll run a 4:5, a 2:3, and then I'm also going to run a 48:9. So Spanish Colonial, hands. We got Brutalist. We got to vote for Brutalist. You guys like that one? Yeah. Love it. What about the Art Deco? No, pretty middle. Mid-century moderns. Those are pretty good. Not bad, but it seems like we're heading down that path tonight. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll grab this prompt again, or just copy it, and I'm just going to paste it in here. And then this time I'm going to permutate on the aspect ratio. So 4:5, 2:3, 48:9. And we'll get those happening pretty shortly as well. One of the things that I really find about the aspect ratios, really subtle changes in the aspect ratio can produce very vastly different results. So one of the things that I'll try and share is the difference between 4:5 and 2:3. When it comes to landscapes, in the 2:3, we tend to get a lot more sky. and a lot more headroom in those images. And so it's almost like it's moving the camera back a little bit. Some of you might see prompts that talk about camera lenses and talk about f-stops. None of that stuff works. So the only stuff that really works is like generic terms about the camera. We can't get really specific about it. Film stock and film grain does work, but if you're trying to type in 200 millimeter f1.8, like it can't process that. It doesn't have that level of knowledge just quite yet. The ultra wides, right here, 48:9. One of the things that Midjourney's really done is that it's opened up its aspect ratio since version 5. So you can get a lot of visuals that suit almost any application now. These are the 48:9s are really interesting to me. Basically, I'll wait until I can upscale one of those ones. Yeah, 3 is pretty cool. So, that almost feels like a Veduta landscape from the Renaissance. So if you need a reference for a mural, Midjourney is not a bad place to start with that. I wanted to illustrate too the idea of the 4:5 aspect ratio. You can see that the cameras are a little bit closer, whereas on the 2:3s, the cameras often just pulled a little bit back. You get a little bit of that like headroom on the top and a little bit more landscaping on the bottom when it comes to landscapes anyway. So one of the things I'll often do is I'll actually generate 4:5s and I'll generate 2:3s, and then I'll crop I'll use this to crop to get something that's a 4:5 if I want the camera pulled back just a little bit. And a lot of my work involves landscapes and world building. Right now, the current version of Midjourney is 5.1. If you want to switch to an older model, you can use the --v command, which I'll now do in permutations. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I personally like 5.1 a lot when it comes to interior design, but for exteriors, I prefer to use 5.0, which has a lot less of an opinionated style. And actually, as an aside, I'm summoning the summoning, I don't know what you guys say, version 2, version 3, and version 1, which will come through shortly as well. If it comes to graphic design and logo design, the older models tend to do a better job, I think. So, we'll just do Starbucks logo for serial killers. Version 2, 3, and 5. And I'll show you what I mean by this. So V3 in particular was a really great moment for Midjourney, in my opinion. It tends to simplify and exaggerate a lot of the shapes, which is really, really good for logo design. Whereas the newer models from 4 and up, those tend to produce much more complicated, complex results. So they're not as creative as I found working with V3, and they don't have the gestalt of some of the older models. And so when those Starbucks logos come in, I'll show you what they look like. So here's version 5. You can see that the style is a little bit different than 5.1. These are a little bit more photorealistic than 5.1, which has a little bit more of that style opinion in it. Here's version 4. This is the version that came out where things started to get quite a lot more realistic than the previous versions. 1, 2, and 3 are still being generated right now. 1 being the original version, and they almost kind of look like impressionistic paintings. 1 and 2, these are still generating, and then version 3 was where we start to get a lot more detail, and then version 4 is where it really started to become. I think that's when the shocking moments started to happen, was around version 4, maybe version 3. And then here's some of the logos for serial killers. We got 2 and 3. I think 5 is done. So really complicated, a lot busier, a lot more detail in there, but not quite as fun as some of these versions that are a lot simpler and a lot more graphic. So like I said, if you're doing logo design, don't be afraid to just kind of wind it back to some of the older models. I think you'll get some really interesting results, or certainly more creative results. I mean, check that out. Oops. That's pretty funny. Seeds. So this is another thing that I wanted to share. Another super powerful feature. We'll go back to Brutalists for a second. We'll start with this one. So one of the things that you can do is you send the envelope emoji to yourself, and Midjourney will send me a DM. And in that DM, you can access the seed for that particular job. So if you like a particular image and you want to variate on it, you can just grab that seed again, which can be pretty powerful to do. And I'll demonstrate that here. Oops, that's not the server I want to go to right there. So I'm just going to paste that seed directly into my channel. We'll go back to this. And dash seed. Copy that, paste that into there. And it'll just produce the exact same job. Every time that you kick off a grid, it randomly rolls the seed number, so that you get a random result every single time. But by using the fixed seed, you're actually fixing the initialization noise. And so you generate the same image grid every time. Why that's useful is once I start to get happy with how an image is turning out, then we can use that to really start dialing in the style. And Midjourney has a default aesthetic style that's built into every one of the models. And that range is attached to a number of between 0 and 1,000. And the default value is actually 100. So you can understyle or you can overstyle an image as well. And I'll show you what that looks like. While this is generating, which one of these 4 should I upscale? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Just shout it out. 2? I don't know, those stilts on 3 are looking pretty weird. Okay, yeah, we'll go with 3 once that's done. Okay, so we're going with 3, and this will arrive shortly. What I'm going to do is actually variate on the seeds and demonstrate that style again. So --S, and then we'll go 75, 100, 125. So this is just going to, 100 being the default, 75 is going to be a little less style, 125 will be a little bit higher. And then we're also going to run this also going to go min-max. So we'll do a 0 and we'll do a 1,000. Maximum style. So while those are going, one way to think about it is that the higher that the stylized number is, the more that it's ignoring your text and the more that it's pushing your images towards a fine-tuned, curated Midjourney data set. The lower that style number is, the more it's trying to give you exactly what you typed into your prompt, and it's going to respect those words a lot more. And so you might get finer control over the way that you're typing in your words, but it's often going to be at the expense of that beauty, that Midjourney sheen. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's kind of a power user type feature. So here you can start to see them coming in. Well, it's hard to tell until they drop, but we'll see it when it happens. So here's the default. That's been the same thing that we've been producing. And then this is at 125. So that's got a little bit more of that style, but it's pretty similar to the 100. And then we've got a 75 here that's starting to reduce that style. Well, what does that really look like if we crank it up? Well, here it is at style 0. So you can see that it's a lot less stylized. And then at 1000, now it's really starting to get stylized. So you're seeing a lot more foliage in these particular images, you're seeing more dramatic. Usually I see more dramatic color, more dramatic lighting, I think, because most pictures of brutalism are sent against overcast skies. We're not really seeing the dramatic lighting that you typically get from cranking up style, but that's something to keep in mind. There's also style raw, which is built into 5.1. And so actually going to permeate this, --s 0 and a -- style raw. Hang on, what am I trying to do here? Actually, you know what? We'll do this. Right. So, yeah. And then we'll do a 100 style raw as well. So when you apply style raw, it's not exactly the same as stylize as 0. So style raw also comes with a 100 default, and then you can bring that down even further to using stylize as 0 in combination with it. And then you can really see that it's, they base most of the output that I tend to get if I do style raw and stylize as 0 just looks like it's vacation photos straight off your iPhone. There's like very, very little art in it at all. And so while those are coming through, they'll see what those look like. How many of you listen to David's Midjourney calls on Wednesday? Does anybody listen to his office hours? If you're part of the community, you can listen to his plans every Wednesday, and they're really, I find them super interesting calls where he talks about kind of the future of his product. And one of the things that he mentioned today was that that 5.2 is something that they're working on, as well as 6 is their training as well. So I'm looking forward to those. So here's style raw at stylize 0. And like I said, I've just tried to eliminate as much of the artistic style out of this as I possibly could. And then here it is. This is just style raw with 100. So you are starting to see that it's removed some of the style, but there's still a little bit in there. Is anybody here familiar with Niji? Niji is a series of custom models that are built into Midjourney that have been trained on a curated data set of anime. You can access the Niji models through --Niji. Just by typing in Niji 5. And if you're a fan of anime, these models tend to work pretty well. They tend to produce very painterly, very illustrative anime looks. One thing to note too, I guess I typed the seed on this. The seed on this particular doesn't cross over models. So the seeds that you get out of Niji are not going to be the same seeds that you get out of version 5 or 5.1. So we're going to get very, very different images by using the Niji model. And in fact, Niji has additional styles as well. So they've got additional models that are built into Niji that you can use. And I'll do that now. Niji 5 -- style. And then they have an expressive model, they have a cute model, and then they have a scenic model as well. And I'll share some of the differences between those three. As an aside, the expressive model in Niji is actually one of my favorites for character designs. So I'll actually run one of those right now. Man and millennial style meets cottagecore fashion. (3D) Octane render. Full body, solid background. 2-3 style. The scenic, cute, expressive. So we'll get some characters out of this ball. Oh no. Wait, no. I lost it. I try that again. Young man and millennial meets cottagecore fashion. Weirdy octane. Sorry, my typing's a little off tonight. It's due to nerves. Full body on a solid background, Niji 5, AR23, style. Expressive. Cute, scenic. Copy that in case I mess it up again. Got it. Okay, so we're going to look at some of the Niji models here. That is the default Niji model. So you can see it's, again, it's quite painterly. It's got the anime influences in it for sure. This one here is the expressive version, which is kind of more of a westernized anime aesthetic. It's got very volumetric lighting. It's got very high contrast forms. And then this one here is it's not so cute, is it? That's the cute model. We'll see cute when the characters pop through is kind of what I'm thinking. And then this one here is the scenic one, which tends to produce very beautiful cinematic backgrounds. It's got a lot more fine details and a lot more drama than the expressive model and the default model. So you can get some pretty outstanding results from that as well. And now we've got our characters coming through. They should be here any minute. Typed young man, and then I typed grand millennial, and it didn't. So I think that's a cute one, right? Yeah, these are the cute characters. That's more cute than those brutalist buildings we were just looking at. This is the expressive model with the characters. Kind of like that guy. And then this is the scenic model with those guys. So you can get very, very different results just by switching the exact same prompt, just by switching the model. I've got 3 more little slides here for you guys. Multiprompts. This is another important feature that I use all the time, and I wanted to make sure that I mention it. How this works is that the double colon can be used to create multiple target prompts that Midjourney tries to resolve for you. So I'll switch it up here. Green Goblin as a butter sculpture. And we'll see what that looks like. And in fact, it's extra powerful when it comes to permutations because you can weight these. So if I say Green Goblin and butter sculpture, and then I give this a permutation of 0.2 and 1.0 and 2.0, and then we'll give it an aspect ratio 2:3. That should send me 3 prompts, and we'll get those in a minute as well. So the number that comes after the double colon acts as a weight. And so by permutating on the seed, you can dial up and down the concepts that are held in multiple prompt terms. So one of them that's going to come in right now, the one that it's working on right here, this is just 1-to-1. It's half Green Goblin, half butter sculpture. We're going to see how that resolves. But this one, and I'm getting kind of the same thing here, different seed. This one here is twice butter sculpture. So it's 2 times the amount of butter sculpture, and it's kind of like a chef, like we're mixing up some ingredients, needs a little dash more butter sculpture. And then we've got one here that's butter sculpture 0.2, 5 times the amount of Green Goblin in this particular one. So here it is, half and half. So we're starting to get some, I don't know, that's pretty crazy. And then the other ones are coming in as well. You can see this one's starting to pull in. It's obviously more Green Goblin than Butter Sculpture. And then we've got one down here that's more Butter Sculpture than Green Goblin. Now, one thing to keep in mind with this is that you can actually use negative numbers on this as well. And that's similar to negative prompting in Stable Diffusion, but it's a little bit difficult to use, I find, in Midjourney. So your mileage may vary. We are going to go back to the architecture for chaos, which is another pretty cool feature. I will take this one, and I think I need a seed with this as well. So and we are going to do chaos. We will do 0, 10, 25, and 100. Yeah. Okay. Chaos, what it's going to do is it's going to randomize the style and the composition of each of the images in the grid, but it's going to remain true to the prompt. The default is 0. So you can only add chaos. You can't reduce chaos. 10 is going to come in quite similar to the default. So we're getting that same image that we've been producing. And then I've dialed it up to 10 here, dialed it up to 25 here, and brought it to maximum chaos to 100 here. You might be underwhelmed with the results, but we'll see. I find if you don't know exactly what you want, chaos is a pretty good way to explore your options. If you're open to different camera angles, if you're open to different aesthetic styles, to different ranges of simplification and exaggeration, use chaos. It's pretty good for that. Often in my prompts, I'll try to put in 5 or 10 into the chaos, which kind of gives me a higher chance at getting something a little bit more unique than what Midjourney typically produces. And so I kind of use it just to get a chance at a rare drop. So here, where's 0? That's 0. Here it is at 10. So quite similar to the default. We're starting to get some different takes on the angle. We're starting some different takes on the rendering style, but still pretty similar to 0. Now at 25, we're starting to get very different angles. We're starting to get a little bit different rendering styles. And then here at 100, very different photos. But they're still very true to the prompt. You know, this is still a brutalist building on a stunning landscape. So chaos is a pretty cool feature. And then this is the last feature I'll walk through tonight. This is the -- tile parameter. This can be used to generate seamless patterns. So if we go wallpaper, brutalist, -- tile, and we'll just repeat that twice. Repeat is kind of similar to permutations. It just takes the same prompt and runs it multiple times. So we can get seamless, whatever brutalist wallpaper is going to look like. We'll get some seamless tiles that we might be able to use. You can take those into Substance. You can take those into any of your 3D packages that you want if you're trying to make materials. I don't, candidly speaking, these are not production quality tileables. These are really just quickly for putting in stand-ins in a scene. And candidly, I don't think they're that good in Midjourney. I think that the Stable Diffusion models, there's a lot better models out there that are available to you if you're really trying to generate seamless tiled textures. I probably wouldn't use the current versions of Midjourney for that. I'd probably go elsewhere, but you can do it. And in a pinch, they're not bad. So these are seamless. I could prove it to you. You'll just have to trust me. And the other interesting thing about this is that it works across all their different models. So let's see what it looks like in Niji, for example. Niji 5, and we'll do the cute one, expressive and scenic, and get some brutalist tileable wallpaper coming out in a couple of minutes. That kind of brings my talk to a close. That's everything I wanted to share with you guys tonight. I hope I was able to show you some new tricks that you can take on your own journeys. There's always new models and features. There's never a dull moment, always something new to learn. Get out there and have some fun with it. Thanks. Here's a little trick that I've learned and have validated through seeded prompting. --no, and then any of the terms that you use after --no is the equivalent to -- or it's equivalent to multiprompting with a negative 0.5. So if you say no car, there's still a half chance that you'll get a car. And so if you do a -1 on a car, there's less chance that you're going to get a car in there. I just generate as many images as I possibly can, and I'm trying to stay on top of the new models, and I'm trying to just learn what I can through hands-on experience. There is documentation. Everything that I typed in today and shared with you is actually up on the Midjourney documentation. It's on their website. And so you can get it. They actually have done a fairly decent job of documenting the current status. They keep it up to date as well, which has been great. The Wednesday calls are really good with Midjourney as well. And those would be the areas that I would recommend.